So with the day gone, I could bring my 2CV back, which I did down the driveway, not running, but I've still got the handbrake connected up, so it was quite safe to bring it down the driveway. And now I'm going over the suspension system to check what needs refreshing. So let's talk a bit about suspension. You've got this big spring canister here. It's got a spring in each end, operated on by this tie rod here, and then you've got a telescopic shock absorber. Demonstrate how that works. As the wheel goes up and down, you'll see this move. So one key wear point is right in here, where there's a triangular piece of metal called a knife edge. Needs lubricating every 1,000 miles or so. These might not have been lubricated all that recently, so I'm going to get them out and see if they're worn at all. Well, that doesn't seem too bad actually. That is one of the knife edges. So that's the load bearing surface. So I'm going to say that's okay. So you can just see a tiny bit of wear on that surface there. But I think that'll be okay. You have to be careful, because if that fails, if that wears enough to snap, then the suspension collapses, and that's considered a bad thing. I've actually taken this shackle off so I can show you the difference. This is one from the front, and you can see it's worn a little ridge in the knife edge, so that's probably going to need replacing before too long. The shackle again has a bit of wear, but there's a long way to go before that actually wears through. I mean, ideally that would pivot on the knife edge, and with that wear ridge it will stop doing that quite so much. So when it's on the car, the knife edge sits there, so that can rotate on the axle arm. It's very difficult to grease these properly, because all sorts of rubbish gets in there. It's one of the biggest challenges of 2CV ownership, is you have to grease these every 1,000 miles. But they're not very easy to grease. You just basically, I tend to put a bit of spray grease in and then pack it out with much thicker grease to try and stop muck getting in, and that really is all you can achieve with those. Let's give you a bit of a tour of the 2CV then, and we'll have a look at exactly how it works. So first of all, you have the engine, and the engine is only that part forwards. So flat twin engine, air cooled, big fan on the front, but that is it. The rest is gearbox, and with the body off I can show you quite well. So here's the gearbox, here's your control lever. It's currently in first gear, so when I pull on the gear lever in the cab I'm pulling that back. So you can see actually it operates in the normal H pattern really, just a bit backwards and you push pull. But that is more like a conventional gear lever on top of the gearbox. Not very conventional are the inboard disc brakes, but that makes them very easy to work on, because you can just open the bonnet and have a look at them. There's a bit of surface rust, but I managed to clear some of that off by driving the bare chassis down the driveway. So we've got steering rack is included in the front suspension tube. So we've got independent suspension each side, racks in there, track rods to each wheel. Simple enough. Then you've got sliding drive shafts. There's a sliding joint there because as the wheel goes up and down, that drive shaft changes length. So that sliding joint, which you have to grease for a grease point on a nipple there, is very important. A bit of wood wedged in the chassis under the fuel line. I have no idea how that got there. Bizarre. Yes, that is a steam train. So that concludes the chassis element of Project Elly. Not really doing too much because it was all working. I've degreased the engine and gearbox today, and that means the throttle now closes properly as it should. But really, why mess with what works? So the next stage is to ship the entire chassis up to Bradford where it will be reunited with the body once that is completely welded up and painted. So you might have to wait a bit for the next instalment, but work is ongoing. I suppose it would only be right to say that yes, my garage is a complete mess. But thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe and see what's coming up next.